Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's session, we'll be learning how to integrate uh, ServiceNow with Python. So here we have the developer instance ready, so you can create it. So I'm not going deep into how to create one. So it is a pretty straightforward process. So here we have, and I'll click on Start Building, and here we have the dev instance ready. So understand in order to integrate it with Python, so we need to go through API Explorer. So I'll just click, I'll just type it over here, API, and you can see the option REST API Explorer over here. So I'll just open it in a new tab. So here we have the API console, and let's open an RITM ticket. So I have it handy over here. So since I already searched it previously, so I'll open this as well. All right, so now what you'll be doing, so you'll be reading this data with the help of Python with ServiceNow API. So let's jump into this tab of REST API Explorer, and so what we'll be doing, we'll read the data from here and we'll be posting some comments. First step will be reading the data of this RITM number, and next step would be the updating the data over here. So let's go to the API Explorer tab itself and look for the table. So for RITM, the table name is sc underscore req underscore item. All right, so we'll be putting some filters over here. So the filter is pretty straightforward. So we'll put number as RITM number. So we can put more filter as well, but in this case it is not really required. Otherwise, we can put the filter like active equal to true, but I'm not interested at this point of time in that. So I'll just copy this RITM number and we'll keep the things default. So we can see that multiple fields over there over here. So we're not going to do this. We can put more filters if needed. By default, it will filter, it will fetch all the records, but that's fine for now. So now I'll send this, and you can see the status code is 200. So that means the code ran successfully, and over here we have the result. So we have the all the details like RITM number and the price and the parameters, state one. Next is created by admin and all that. And similarly, we have the values, link, and the sys as well, and we have the approval status as well, right? So now we have done it from API Explorer GUI itself. Now we'll be doing the same using Python. So let's go up. So here we have multiple options over here. So we have ServiceNow script, curl, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, Perl, and PowerShell. So right now I'm interested it doing via Python. So I'll click on Python, and we have this nice code ready. So I'll just open it in Notepad to show the demonstration. So you can see the username, password. We need to fetch. We need to provide that. So by default, it is showing admin, but we have it. This is different for different developer instances or your actual production environment. And we have the uh, this block for mm, reading the data. So if this is not equal to 200, then we have this result. So, but that's fine. So we'll go back again. So I'm not going to save this. So uh, let me go back to my code. So this is pretty straightforward. So I have defined two blocks, two functions basically. One is RITM, read RITM, that is going to read that RITM data. And next is RITM, update RITM. So So if you see, the code is pretty straightforward. uh, but what I have done, so let me open it notepad again, right? So I have made some segregation based on the environment, so that in future if I need to change the environment, so I don't need to change the whole code itself. So I have defined the variables like environment, user, and password. All right, so in the URL I have mentioned like this, so that we can directly change the environment, and the script, the partial, the code will be executed. So that's fine. Next is the API call, what we are making. So over here you can see the API call, API URI. So here is the API URL, right? So since I'm taking input from users, so I have also done modification over here. So you can see the same HTTP URI method. So if you go back to the Python code, so I have defined the same query parameter number, and I have mentioned the variable as RITM. So if you run this code, so the first step is it will read the data, I mean, and the RITM number over here. So it will the RITM number will be logged by the user, I mean the put by the user. And the next step, this URL will be converted to the actual RITM number, and then the code will be executed. So next challenge that I faced while I was doing initial integration, I was not able to read the data. So let me run it quickly. So I just mask these values so that I can see. So let me mask all this, right? So initially, if you see the code by ServiceNow, so you can see this print data is here. So if I ran this, of course I need to put RITU number, so I have it handy over here, right? So we have this bunch of output, but now we are interested in only this sys. So I'm going to unmask all this relevant information. So yeah, so I have this now, and I'll mask this. I'll hash this so that only sys will be printed over on screen. So again, I put the RITM number, and you see this sys is printed over here. And if you compare the sys with this, so you can either see copy sys over here and check that, and match the same with the one that is printed. You can see it starts with AEED and ends with 1C2. So this is similar. Another way is you can see it in URL itself. So it starts from here, something like this, right? So this is the sys. Okay, so now sys is printed, so we are able to read the data. So in similar way, so and again, so how can we read the data? So we can see it is written in the blocks over here. So we have whole printed data like this, right? And under that, mm, I've defined sys as result 0 and sys under and the whole result, and over here under 0. So if you see, let me go back to the previous screen. All right, so yeah, so under this, right, so this is the result, and this whole block is mentioned, right? So over here we have multiple values. So these are basically in JSON format, key values pair. So based on this, we can filter out this sys. So I have mentioned this sys variable like this, and similarly, we can mention other parameters, right? Like approvals, sysmodel count, and all that. But that's fine. We are not interested in those stuffs right now. So we have this sys printed. Now the next thing is how can we uh, I mean, update the RITM with this API call or with this Python script. So for that, we need to switch back to, we can switch to update a record option, this one. So initially I forgot to mention that it is going to be get request if you want to read the data, right? And if it is going to be patch request, patch record, if we are going to update the data. So next thing is, in order to update the data, in order to update the RITM number, so we need the sysID, not RITM number itself. So let's write req item, right? And for this we need to have sysID. So for example, if we are executing a code, right, and we don't have sysID handy, so in order to get that, we have to figure out the sysID first. So if you see my code, update RITM, right? So let's put uh, sysID of this as well, in order to see the demonstration how it works, right? How the how the patch works. So I have put the SEQ item, SCRQ item, and I have put the sysID, and I'll put the rest of things as default. And what parameters we are going to update? So I'm simply going to update the work nodes, right? So if I open RITM, so it is like this, right? So this is a work node. I mean, we put some comments over there, and it gets updated. So that's what we are doing it in. Uh, we are that's what it we are going to update over here using API. So put it, this is API update from GUI, right? So I'll send it, right? It is asking that it is modifying data, that's fine, right? So it's again says it is 200, okay, so that means we the code ran successfully. And if you see, this is API update from GUI, right? And again, if you see the code, right, API code, let me open it over here, right? So we have let me open this as well. I'll just select snippet and copy it and open it in Notepad, right? So we see that we have this sysID, right? And we have another parameters like we had in read RITM, right? And we have mentioned the work node adds, this is API update from the GUI. But for now, for our case, so is we are not going to provide this directly. Instead, we need to get this done from user itself. For example, I want to update the RITM, so we have to put the RITM instead, not this uh, long society, because we don't know. We need to figure out first. But from user's perspective, a user is familiar about RITM, so we need to pass RITM, and this is API update from GUI. This is also going to be input by user, right? So in order to do that, I have that code block ready. So I'm using Spider again, and you see def RITM, update RITM. So now I would like to mention that I'm reading RITM sysID. I'm trying to get the sysID of RITM, right? So if you see, it is reaching out to read RITM, right? And if you see the block again, it is not returning any value, right? So I'm going to put return sysID, so that if we call this function, and if we are going to provide some a variable, this function, then it is going to return sysID. So it is ultimately reading the RITM and giving the value to RITM sysID, right? So right, okay. So I'll just unmask this. Sorry, I'll just hash this. So it is already there. That's fine. And then we are going to print this RITM. And next step, we are going to put the work nodes, so that the user is going to enter what comments is required in order to update that, and the URL API call. So if you go to this, and it is pretty straightforward, that it is the URL and SE request item and sysID. So similarly, we have URL, the environment name, and the RITM sysID that we got from read RITM, right? and we have the response and patch code block over here, right? So now I'm going to run this, right? So I need to put the RITM number. Oops, I put the wrong, so I have to cancel it and run it again. And I have this RITM handy over here. Copy and paste. Right. So like society, that is, this is going to print because I have mentioned to print it over here. And in next step, it is going to return. So over here, it is also again going to print the same society uh, just for our clarity, yeah, so that it can be visible that we have printed the right RITM and the right society. Now we are going to put into the notes, this is RITM, or put simply, this RITM is updated using Python API call, right? So hit enter, and if we go back to the RITM, so you can see that this RITM is updated using Python API call. So yeah, so this is updated now. So I'll send the code in description, and you can let me know if you have any issues, and if you want to integrate ServiceNow with some other scripting like Python that we already did, and like another language like Python, PowerShell, or what options we have. Let me hop on it quickly. Yeah, so there are a couple of languages. So let me know if you are looking for another languages. So I'll be happy, in fact, more than happy to do this. Yeah. So I think, yeah, this is. I hope this video will be quite informative, and you can let me know in comments if you need some modifications or suggestions. Yeah. Thank you so much.